We zijn weer online. Goedenavond allemaal. Welkom bij weer een nieuwe aflevering van Gente, Mágica. Gente, Mágica, daarin ga ik in gesprek met mensen die een inspirerend verhaal te vertellen hebben en die mijn passie voor Latijns-Amerika delen. En vandaag heb ik het genoegen om te spreken met Matías de Cristóbal uit Argentinië. General manager van Awasi Hotels. Daarom ga ik ook over in het Engels. Nog even voordat ik daarmee verder ga, nog eventjes wat huishoudelijke mededelingen. Aan de rechterkant ziet u de mogelijkheid om te chatten. Dus dan kunt u een vraag stellen. Mocht u een vraag hebben, dan kunt u hem gelijk stellen. En dan nemen we hem erin mee. Mocht het geluid niet goed zijn, dan kunt u dat ook daar aangeven. But to make it more easy for you, Matías, I'm going to continue in English.
Thank you.
Welcome in the show. Happy to have you here. And first of all, I need to congratulate you because Travel and Leisure, one of the most important travel magazines in the world, has voted Awasi Patagonia as the best hotel of South America and 9th best hotel in the world. So
yes, thank you, Johan. And it was for us a big news and a very nice news in the middle of this difficult year. So yes, we were very, very happy about that big award for us.
Cool.
For all our team.
How long has Awasi now been in the business?
Awasi started in 2007. We opened our first hotel in the north of Chile in the Atacama Desert. At that time, it was a challenge for us because none of the ones who started Awasi had any clue about the hotel business. So it was like we were like the new kids on the block, trying to discover something new. But I think that was also an advantage to be somebody external from the hotel industry allowed us to think the concept as something new, as something different, and we were inspired by different ideas or different experiences that we had as travelers. So when we started Awasi, we said, what would we like to have in Atacama Desert? What type of hotel or what type of concept, what type of experience?
Yeah.
And we had inspiration from many, many different places.
Sorry to interrupt you, Matías, but because that's very interesting to know. As you said, you didn't come from hotel business. So can you tell me, you started in banking? You told me.
Yeah, I started in retail, then banking, then I did some consultancy. And one of these at that time was Coopers and Lybrand, and then I worked in the entertainment business, in the hotel, in the cinema business, and so it was a big, different type of conjunctions that brought me to this industry. But I'm very happy that I changed into this one.
And so you started in you started in banking, then you worked in cinema business. How did you end up starting together with some other people Awasi in Chile?
Well, after I worked in the cinema industry, in one of the big economic problems that we regularly have in Argentina. Every 10 years we have a big economic turmoil. I started a small store in Buenos Aires in the Recoleta district. Well, I actually started in San Telmo, which is a very old neighborhood of Buenos Aires, and then I moved it to Recoleta. But I started with a concept of native art store. So we were gathering handmade things that had tradition, the tradition of the Latin America Indian or tribes, local communities. But what we did is that we had the approach of offering them as pieces of art. Sometimes when we think of an artisan, we don't think as an artist. But we discovered that there was so much tradition, so much history behind every piece that we thought it was fair to put them in value and to create a nice store with unique pieces of art. And those pieces have always had to have some uses, either in decoration or in fashion or in something like that. So we opened it in Buenos Aires, then it was very successful. We opened another store in Barcelona, in Spain. And at that time, the owner of Awasi, a Spanish lady, visited my store in Argentina. And we started talking, and she told me that she had a very nice property in the Atacama Desert, and that she wanted to do like a little hotel there. And she asked me to go and visit the construction. At that time, it was under construction. So with my consulting mind, I said, and with my experiences, sometimes bad experiences on traveling, I suggested her to create a different concept. And at that time, being a consultant, sometimes you need to think out of the box and approach the industry or approach the business in a different fashion, in a different manner. So I thought of myself as a traveler. I said, what I want to find when I travel. And in every travel, when we do a remote trip to a new location, we try to find two different things: culture, living culture, and nature. And sometimes they are together, culture and nature. So I said, in Atacama, how we can show the amazing nature and the interesting culture in a hotel, in the whole concept, not only in the architecture or the design, but also in the gastronomy, also in the excursions. And at that time, I had recently been for the first time to Africa, to South Africa, and I had a very bad experience because I was on a shared excursion with 3 other couples from Argentina. Sometimes people tend to think that since you belong to the same nationality, you must have the same preferences or tastes. And I was in the middle of this amazing nature, being exposed to incredible experiences, but I wasn't enjoying my company. These couples, they were very nice, but they were making noise or not taking care of the environment or not looking at the same things that I wanted to look, or maybe I wanted to stay for 1 hour taking pictures of or waiting for a certain animal to appear. And I wasn't able to because we had a schedule and we had to go forward and to move with the vehicle. So I said it's very strange to being obliged to share the most luxurious item that we have, which is time and free time, with people that doesn't share my same interests. So when we started Awasi, we said the private excursions should be the main luxury item that we offer, because time is very limited, time is scarce, and free time more than anything in the world is a luxurious item. We tend to confuse luxury with ostentatious, especially in the last decades. The world has been putting these words together, but luxury, from our approach, is something totally different. So that was the way that we started the concept of Awasi. And we were breaking lots of cliches from the hotel industry and lots of paradigms in the hotel industry. But I think that we were able to do that because we were thinking out of the box. We were new. So we made lots of mistakes, but most of what we did was good and people appreciated it. And people were so happy to arrive in the hotel and have their own private guide, their private vehicle, and having their time to do whatever they wanted. That was the key element of Awasi.
Yeah, that's what I remember as well. Is that if you come in, you get your favorite drink, and then you sit down with your guide, and you take the map. It's going to explain about the area, and then and then you basically plan together your trip, so you don't have like set excursions or something like that.
And Johanna, let me tell you something more. How many times we have heard in the industry this cliche that hoteliers say, we want you to feel at home. But for us, that's tricky. That's not very, very clever, because traveling means leaving your home. Traveling means an adventure, means going out of your doorstep and open your door, going to the unknown. So the best way for travel to us is not staying at home or feeling at home, but feeling that you are at the home of a friend, of a local friend. And that's the whole idea of Awasi. Awasi means home in Quechua, which is the local language, but it's somebody else's home. The best trips that I can remember are those that I had, and when I stayed in the house of a friend who's a local, because this local friend will show you the best places that nobody else knows, and that he will show you the best food and the best preparations and the hidden corners. So that's the concept of Awasi. You are not in your home. You are the home of a friend. So the whole idea of the hotel, sometimes the hotels tend to have public places. You open the door and you can go there for a drink or sitting in the lobby of a hotel. Not in Awasi. Awasi is only open for our guests, even the restaurant. Even when our 3 properties are Relais Chateau, we have 3 great restaurants, but they are only for our guests. And that's very important, because we keep in mind the concept that you are staying at a private home, not at a hotel.
And so you started in Atacama. What in terms of because if you have you talk about the normal things, like about excursions, people go to El Tazio, they go to the salt flats. Could you explain me a bit what kind of things you're doing with the guests over there that are completely different than to what others do?
Yeah, we will go to the Tatio because they are the geysers and they are very well known, but we'll try to go a little bit later, when you can still see the geysers, but when there's few people there are less people. And we organize, not in the middle of the geysers, but a little bit away. We organize an amazing breakfast. When all the buses have left, you can stay there relaxing and enjoying this amazing place just for yourself. But also, a lot of people have heard about the Moon Valley, and everybody wants to go to the Moon Valley for the sunset. And you will see there lots of tourists doing the same. We will take you somewhere else to see the sunset. We will take you to a small village where you will sit on the between the crops and of a local family in these ancient terraces where they still growing their crops. And you can see all the volcanoes from there and the sunset from a totally different place, knowing somebody local. Maybe you will find an old lady who's weaving on her loom, doing a nice poncho, and you can talk to them, because when you arrive to these small towns with only one vehicle and two guests, one couple, is different. People are not that shy. People, they open for you, and you can visit a local village feeling local. It's not coming in a big bus or in a van and being between tens of tourists who are taking pictures to the people in a not respectful way. So these are the type of things. We will show you little places where not all the people go at the same time. Of course, we are going to go to the Moon Valley, but maybe we are going to go there in the morning when nobody is around. Okay, we try to avoid crowds because the other element of luxury in these times is space. Having a big space with no massive tourism is also something that we appreciate when we travel, and this is how we want to show these hidden corners.
Exactly, and as you are not, you told me you think out of the box. You do things different than I guess other hotels do. Is that also with your staff? Are you having? How do you select your staff? Are they from hotel business? I, for example, met some people in Iguazu who were just from the area, and they were so keen on showing their area. But how do you select these people?
We have a big number of different nationalities. We have 16 different nationalities working in Awasi. What they have in common are many things, but first, they love nature. Second, they love people. They love human contact. They are curious about people. So they are, and this makes them really great hosts. And a great host is somebody that wants to show what they are proud of, and they are proud of the place that they are showing. That's you can see this feature, this attitude in all our staff. So the way of training them is also different, because what we try to explain them is that we tell them, imagine that you are welcoming the best friend of your grandfather, and your grandfather told you, please, this friend is very dear to me, is very special to me, and I want you to show him or her all the little things that you have. So our guides will think, first of all, we prepare to receive them. We send a questionnaire to the travel agent or the tour operator, and in general, the tour operator knows their clients very well. So they will give us some tips about them. So we really make a big preparation before the client arrives. And then we suggest them a different type of activity, but also if they told us that they have certain food restrictions or food preferences, we are going to make them possible for them. And in this way, we can really create wonderful experiences. And I repeat this story a lot because it really was very important for us when I heard it for the first time. Every time I go to our hotels, I spend some time with the guides, and I ask them, which was your favorite client this season or in the last months? And once in Atacama, one of the guides, Nicolas, told me the story of Peter. Peter was a single traveler from Canada. He was a professor. He was clearly making a big effort to come to Awasi, who he had saved to come to Awasi, because Awasi, we have 300 employees, 100 employees per property for only 12 or 14 rooms. So, we have a lot of service, a lot of staff, and of course it's not cheap, Awasi. So this professor was coming here with the idea of climbing a volcano, but he was not clearly the fit person to climb a volcano very easily. So he was a little bit scared about the possibility of climbing a volcano. So Nicolas, his private guide, took him on the last day to climb the volcano. And as soon as they started climbing, Peter started feeling a little bit tired he couldn't breathe very well. So Nicolas took the time to tell and to explain Peter how to do it. And they were climbing 5 steps and stopping, 5 steps and stopping. So when they got to the middle of the volcano, Peter said, I'm feeling a little bit cold. Nicolas took his jacket. He gave it to Peter. He took from his backpack thermos with some hot chocolate. They started talking about life, and enjoying the landscape. So Peter was good again to continue. Well, end of the story, they did it in three times more the regular time to do it. But when Peter finally did it, he started crying in the top of the volcano. And he said, I'm crying because you, Nicolas, you are probably the first person that really trusted me. And you are also the first person that I really trusted. So thank you for this. And for us, this story was so powerful that I called Peter. I said, Peter, you have gave us the good example of the purpose of what we do. We are not selling necessarily nice trips. We are selling powerful moments. And powerful moments generally come when you have some insightful thoughts and you have discovery. And when you are put in front of this incredible nature and this incredible human contact, you can do it and you can find within you some reasons or some explanations or some meaning to what you are doing in life. So this maybe happens to us a lot of times, but so we are trying to use these ideas and these examples of what we do to train our staff and to tell them, listen, you will be welcoming very wealthy people, but this is what you can do with wealthy people, and these are the special gifts that you can do and you can offer in your work. And this is the purpose of what are we doing. I like the idea of there's a great hotelier and restaurateur by the name of Danny Meyer. Danny Meyer is from the US, and he starts one of his books, which is called Setting the Table, with an idea that I love. He said that most of the human beings will receive 4 gifts as soon as we are born. One is eye contact, then is a smile, then is a hug, and then is some food. So when I imagine Peter with Nicolas climbing this volcano, Peter had these 4 gifts. And I also imagine that if Peter had gone to another hotel with a group excursion, he would have never enjoyed this. Because as soon as he was tired, maybe they would have told him, listen, Peter, you need to wait there in the van. You will have a nice coffee there to drink. We will meet you when we are back from the volcano. And Peter would have missed this experience. So for us, this was a revelation also. And it explained us what we are doing. It's not we are selling tours, we are selling something more. And this is something nice. And when I compare to my previous life, doing due diligences or doing mergers and acquisitions on a consultancy, well, I didn't find these moments. So it gave me a lot of meaning in the job that I'm doing.
Yeah, it's great to hear because that's the essential thing, I guess, from traveling, is to touch people in that sense, so that it not becomes just a trip, but an unforgettable experience.
Yeah.
When I go back to the moment you were in Argentina and decided to go to Chile, because you're a father, you're married, and you have 3 kids. At that time, they were like teenagers or just a bit.
No, they were. My oldest daughter was 7 years old, 8, I think, and my youngest one, who's there in the middle, he was just 3 years old. So they were very little when we moved to Chile, and we stayed there for 10 years.
And did you immediately have the idea of this is going to be that new job that is going to give meaning to my professional life in a better way than I have before, and that's the reason what I should move to Chile?
Not at all. Not at all. For me, it was a surprise. It was like an adventure. I wanted to leave Argentina for some time because I was tired of the problems of Argentina that were repeating, and I was hearing my parents and my parents' friends talking about Argentina. Oh, Argentina is a mess, and it will always be a mess. I said I want to go for some time to a more stable country, and Chile is a much more stable country than Argentina, or it used to be until last year. But the world is changing very rapidly. Okay. But I always loved adventures. I always loved learning new things. I'm a constant student of something. I study music. I practice. I study a new language. So I always want to be learning something new. And for me, a new industry was something interesting, and it was fun. And whenever you start something fun, and I think that I'm a curious person, and being curious allow you to learn, which is something that I enjoy. But I never thought that was going to give me so much meaning as it gives me as a job, although I realized that lots of things happen for a reason. I mean, we listen to that every day, it's a cliche. Oh, everything happens for a reason. But for instance, when I started my arts and craft native shop, it was because I lost my job in the exhibition, in the cinema industry. I was working for an Australian-American company. It was a joint venture between two exhibition cinema companies. And in this middle of this problem of Argentina, they left the country. So I said, what can I do? And I started this little shop. And because of that shop, I got to know Anna, who's the owner of Awasi, and she offered me to go, So I could have stayed maybe waiting or saying, oh, I'm an important businessman, and I'm going to wait for the next headhunter to call me, and stay at home. But I decided to do something, and something that I didn't have a clue. I started doing arts and craft because I used to travel a lot within Latin America and always loved, I'm very bad myself doing things with my hands. So I always admire people who can do nice things with their hands. So I found this vocation of selling nice local artisan things. But, it's whenever you move and you are open to new things, things eventually come. Of course, I didn't plan this. When I started with my shop, I said, "Oh, I'm selling ponchos now." I was very important to traveling the world as a businessman, and now I'm selling ponchos. But it was fun also. So I think that this is the only thing that I try to teach my children.
So basically, if it's a matter of going out of your comfort zone that brings you the best moments in life.
I think so. Yeah.
And we've been talking about Awasi, about luxury. Luxury, we agree about that. It's not something bold or anything. It's something what is unusual or rare to have, I guess. So every time. So what is value to you? What's luxuries to you?
I would say that pretty much what we offer in Awasi. I think that time and maximizing the use of your time is luxury, and maximizing the use of your time is who you spend your time with also. So maybe I'm as you get older, you value that time much more, and you tend to avoid losing your time with things or people that don't give you or offer you anything, or don't help you improving yourself or enriching you. And that's not necessarily mean that you must listen to a wise or a man or a philosopher. You can I can enjoy my time and learn a lot from very simple people too. And I think that's being open to that is also the secret or the recipe that works for me. I learn interesting things for very unusual people. maybe from a taxi driver, or maybe from somebody who's living in the street. But I think that we are in the age of maybe the social media, like Twitter or Instagram. Sometimes they are too pushy in terms of cliches of communication, cliches of luxury too. So I think that we need to be open to think and to high criteria and critical thinking. That's the challenge especially for the new generations, which tend to have everything cooked, and they have the answers cooked, and they repeat what they read very easily. And sometimes I feel that a lot of people is lacking critical thinking. You can learn that not only from professors,
I think
there's a lot of nature.
I think this is a very valuable time to learn these kind of things.
Agreed.
And how do you do that with your children? You take them a lot on a trip, or?
Yes, we try to do every year like a trip in Argentina or in Chile. And every 2 years, we try to go a little bit further, like Africa or some place in Europe or in the US. We would like to go to Australia or New Zealand in the next trip, something that involves culture and nature, a new culture, a new way of looking at the world, and also trying to value nature. And I think that my oldest daughter, she already started to travel herself along with friends, and she has been doing a couple of her. Yeah, that's Olivia there. She loves traveling, and it's good, when you see that they are taking something of what you taught them, and of course they are teaching you new things because they are. Our generation is very different to the new generation, and we are being taught every day new things from them, which is, when my children were small, were very little, I loved playing with them, and they were always with us, my wife and me. I said, it's going to be so difficult when they become teenagers, because I had this idea of teenagers that I know you hate them. And I was so surprised that when they become their teenage time, and they start to question new things, and they start to have an ideas of something that they read, which is different to what you taught them, or different to your idea. It really helps you a lot to learn from them, and to learn a new way of thinking. Sometimes we don't agree, of course, we don't have to, but I think it's also a very interesting time of life when they start to grow and to think by themselves.
It sure is. Going back, you started in Chile, in Atacama Desert. Then you opened up Awasi, Patagonia, and then eventually, for you came back to Argentina and started in Iguazu.
Yes, yeah. The idea that we always had was to have a collection of different lodges in South America that always had to show local culture and local nature. So in Atacama, the design was made with local elements like adobe, thatched roofs, local stones. It showed the local architecture. Then in Patagonia, we created a private reserve in front of the national park. And there we were inspired by the African lodges that they have a private reserve. We created there a foundation. The challenge in Patagonia was how to build without disrupting the environment. So we created these small cabins, small little villas that were built in top of stilts in order to preserve the terrain. And then in Iguazu, we were in a totally different landscape, because Iguazu is the middle of the Atlantic rainforest, it's jungle. But the nice thing is that now we have a collection of 3 properties in 3 iconic destinations, like the driest desert in the world, in Atacama, the Patagonia steppes, mountains, lakes, and glaciers, and then the Iguazu Falls. So most of our clients come from Europe or the US, and they tend to stay for at least 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, they can visit Buenos Aires, they can go to the jungle, they can go to the desert, stay in Santiago de Chile, go to the nice winelands that they are there, and then stay in Patagonia. And in one trip, they will have a huge contrast of what South America offers, or Argentina and Chile offer, not South America, no? But that's the idea of collection of, and whenever you go to an Awasi, although they are different, they have the same private services and tailor-made services. People has this idea of staying in the house of a friend, and we achieve that. And from clients that have stayed in the 3, all of them had, maybe one of them will tell us, okay, my favorite was Patagonia, or my favorite was Atacama or Iguazu. But in the 3 of them, I had the same feeling of a different type of service that I was getting. So that's very nice to have.
Yeah, I completely can agree with that, because that was my personal experience as well. I was in 2018, when it was just opened, I went to Awasi Iguazu, and I was anxious to know how it was going, because before that I stayed a few times in Belmont in Brazil, and the added value was that you were like inside a national park, and that was really special. So I was wondering what Awasi was going to offer me as an added value. But then I went with Carlos and Pika. They received me at the airport, and immediately they started to talk about the Mata Atlântica rainforest. And all of a sudden, I just forgot about that there were some falls nearby, but they began to talk and to about the rest, what's over there. And that was, for me, it was like an eye-opener, because most people are just talking about, if you talk about Iguazu, you talk about the falls, but they went further and just showed the other parts, which hardly are visited by other people who go to that area. And that was amazing.
You know, Johan, it's great that you say that. It's so good to hear that, because one of the biggest challenges that we had when we opened Iguazu is that Iguazu is so well known for the falls that most of the people go there as a 1 or 2 night destination. They just go, check on the falls, and they leave. But before we opened Iguazu, our Awasi there, we were researching, and we discovered that there are hundreds of places to visit that nobody else is going. So we created like 20 different type of excursions that they are new in the area. And we are trying to educate people to not only go and visit the falls, because the Mata Atlântica, the Atlantic rainforest, is a very different type of jungle with lots of endemic species and lots of places to visit. It has an interesting story of the Jesuit missionaries who stayed there, and you can still discover ruins in the area. We are working with a group of archaeologists, because we discovered all Jesuit little ovens in the middle of the jungle. So there's such a great variety of activities to do that we think that we are not reinventing, but rediscovering the destination of Iguazu. And the good thing is that one of the editors of the supplement How to Spend It of the Financial Times went there 1 year ago, and she was so amazed, as you were, with the different things that she saw, that she wrote her article even without almost even mentioning the falls, Of course, the falls are amazing. It's like going to India and to the north of India and not visiting the Taj Mahal, You will go there, but there are lots of other things to go. And we believe on non-massive tourism. And I think that there's a big opportunity in the middle of this horrible situation of the COVID in the world to start building a different type of industry in tourism. To be, maybe the bad thing is that we are not going to be able to travel for the weekend. I don't know, in Europe, you can go for the weekend to Marrakesh. Maybe this is not going to happen. Maybe we will need to save a little bit more before doing a new trip. But, we are going to hopefully, we are going to take more care of the destinations that we visit. And when we visit this destination, we may need to stay a little bit longer. Maybe not 2 days, maybe we'll stay a week, but we are going to really visit, and we are going to really try to make contact with the local people and not going to just take some selfies to upload them to Instagram immediately, I hope for a new type of traveler for the New Year's. I think that this is going to be a good opportunity for the travel industry.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And as I mentioned before, I've done some car projects in the past. The first time I arrived at Awasi in Atacama, I was with a classic Volvo from '68. So I've been driving for 80,000 kilometers in South America, and what for me the most beautiful thing is that you can go to the highlights. But in between, there's so much to see. And basically, that's what you're doing on these highlighted places. I think, Atacama Desert, Torres del Paine, and Iguazu, they are like one of the highlights if people think of South America. But you show that there's so much more to see. Is there, I don't know if you are planning to open other properties, but would it also be an idea to find a place that's completely not known?
Yes, we thought about that. The problem with our type of hotel is that we need to hire a lot of staff from the very first moment. And there are lots of amazing places in South America, very little known, and also very hard to get to. So imagine if for instance, we've analyzed the Isla Navarino in the south of Chile. It's southern from Tierra del Fuego. Okay, it's an amazing place, but it's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult to get there. Imagine if you try to make somebody that never came to South America to go on their first trip to Isla Navarino. They will probably choose going to Ushuaia or Tierra del Fuego or to El Calafate or to Torres del Paine or to Iguazu. So the problem is that we would be paying lots of salaries with very little occupancy. We have a project. We have an idea which has to do with itinerary camps like the ones in Africa, that we could create a camp for a certain time in a very special location and maybe have people coming for during that period, and then we will move that camp to another place. That's a possibility. But there are also very nice places. I don't know if you are aware of you've ever visited Esteros de Iberá, the Iberá wetlands.
Yes,
have you been there?
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay, that's on our list because that is not very well known, but it has a lot of potential, and it's not that difficult to get to. You can combine it very easily with Iguazu too. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's on our list. We are trying to buy a piece of land there, and maybe that will be the next Awasi. Yeah. But we definitely want to grow. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's really an area which is so amazing in terms of wildlife. But that area, hardly anyone knows about it.
Yeah. And you as a tour operator must know that if you try to convince somebody to go to a place that is not very well known, it's maybe your client will choose something different before.
No, yeah, that's I completely agree. That's something we did with, for example, with Carretera Austral.
Yeah.
Carretera Austral, I personally love it a lot. It's
Me
a
too.
great area, but it was hard to sell. It was hard to get people over there, and then we started to offer driving trips from Chilean Lake District all the way down to Patagonia, and that worked. So if you combine it eventually with a location that is more known, yeah, then it's possible. Would that be something for you guys as well to do something with some kind of a road trip?
Well, it's that would involve putting people or our clients in places that are not necessarily the type of Awasi, you know. But we consider it. It's difficult to operate it. It's very difficult when you need to connect different like outposts. You know, the idea is great because you could have different outposts. And well, there's one friend of mine who has some hotels in Morocco who does this in a very good way.
Mm-hmm.
So we were discussing with him how he does it. But in our area, the distances are very long, as you know, in Patagonia. You know, in Patagonia, no, in general in South America. So there are very few people that are willing to get on the vehicle for many hours. For instance, there's a 5-hour trip from El Calafate to Torres del Paine, and some people are when they arrive there and said, "Oh no, come on, 5 hours, that's too much." You know, it's I love it because I love and I don't care. As soon as I get to Patagonia or to a place like that, I feel that already that I am enjoying the trip whenever I travel, you know, by car. But there are very few people that are willing to do that. But it's a good idea anyway.
I have a nice quote about that from a client. Matthias, there was we did a trip, and it was involved like in general 600 kilometers driving a day, and then there was a couple, and they hadn't done these kind of trips before. So the lady said, "Yeah, when my husband came with the idea to participate in this trip, I said, what are we going to do? I'm going to stay for 10 hours in a car. What's this?" And then after the trip, she said, it's not 10 hours in the car. It's a movie of 10 hours that's in front of me playing. And
that's a great definition. That's a great definition. But very few people see it like that. Huh?
Yeah. Now you now have the 3 hotels open, thinking about new adventures. You have still some time left to do things for yourself. You have hobbies, or?
Yes, I have maybe too many hobbies, and that's why I do none of them very good. But I play the saxophone for many years, so I have every week I have my meeting with my professor. So I enjoy playing jazz and that. I swim. I love swimming. Of course, my swimming pool is closed because of the epidemic, but we have a nice old people swim team, you know, and we go to these nice international competitions. This picture is in Budapest 2 years ago, and I do some yoga also, and I love taking photos. So I'm a aficionado of photography too. But you know, as I told you before, I have too many. I'm not professional in any of them.
Yeah, but you're. I've seen some pictures of you in Instagram, and it looks quite professional. So people.
They're improving. I think that they're improving. Thank you.
Nice. So, Matías, it's really great talking with you and share ideas. Is there anything would you like to share with the people before we close this interview?
No, I think we talk about much of what I wanted to say, and I thank you for the invitation. I just to my only thing or thought is that I think that in 10 years people will see at this time of our lives as something very strange that happened to all of us, and we are going to discover things that could have probably been done differently. But I think that this is a good opportunity for all of us to rethink what we are doing and how we are doing. And I still think that in the middle of this crisis, we can learn lots of new things and to improve in many ways.
So is there anything positive what you could mention now that you got out of this situation?
Well, I hope that the world is going to be less carbon or more carbon neutral in the future. The new generations are going to say stop, and they are going to demand from companies to be better behaved in terms of environmental aspects. I just read that there are new investment funds run by younger people that they are only investing in carbon neutral companies. So yes, I think that this is going to accelerate, and we will pay maybe more taxes, or traveling will be more expensive. But I think that we are going to protect our environment in a much better way. I'm hoping for that.
It's a nice way to end this nice conversation. Thank you very much, Matías.
Thank you so much, Johan. It was a pleasure, and thank you, Anke, for showing these pictures. Thanks a lot. And I hope to see you very soon, Johan, personally.
I definitely hope to come soon. Hope that we can travel soon again. Stay healthy. I hope that, and then we will probably see each other around somewhere.
I'm sure.
Thank you very much, Matías.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.